As global trade tensions heat up, many importers are left trying to decode a patchwork of overlapping tariffs. Some are aimed at unfair trade practices, others at national security, and yes, many of them are stacked. That's why we're taking a deeper look at the different types of tariffs the U.S. can impose. I'm Kari Crane, editor of Passage's Shipping Solutions International Trade blog. In this episode of A Deeper Look, we're turning our attention to Section 232 tariffs, a powerful tool rooted in national security concerns that continues to shape how the U.S. approaches strategic imports like steel, aluminum, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, and more. Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962 authorizes the president to impose trade restrictions, most commonly tariffs, if imports are found to threaten national security. This authority is delegated to the Secretary of Commerce, who conducts the investigation and makes recommendations. Section 232 is distinct from other tariff authorities because of its national security focus. It's not about unfair trade practices per se. Instead, the question is, does the importation of a certain product in such quantities or under such conditions impair the national security of the United States? Here's how implementation works. The Department of Commerce initiates an investigation, either on its own or at the request of another federal agency, industry, or the president. After investigating, the Secretary of Commerce submits a report to the president with findings and recommendations. The president has 90 days to decide whether to act on the recommendations and impose tariffs, quotas, or other restrictions. Section 232 has been used sparingly until the Trump administration applied it aggressively, starting in 2018, citing threats to domestic steel and aluminum industries. These tariffs apply broadly, not just to China, but also to key U.S. allies like Canada, Mexico, and the EU. Some exemptions and quotas were negotiated during the Biden administration, but most have been removed in recent months. Most recently, the Department of Commerce has broadened its focus to include emerging sectors. In 2024 and 2025, it initiated new Section 232 investigations into pharmaceutical ingredients, essential medicines, and semiconductors, raising questions about U.S. supply chain resilience and technological self-sufficiency. These inquiries reflect a growing interest in using Section 232 to secure critical infrastructure well beyond the traditional scope of metals and manufacturing. Though outcomes vary by administration, these investigations show that Section 232 remains a flexible tool that can be applied to emerging sectors, not just heavy industry. Unlike Section 301, which focuses on unfair trade practices abroad, Section 232 turns inward. Is the U.S. losing critical production capacity? Are foreign suppliers controlling a disproportionate share of a market essential for defense or health security? Could import dependency weaken our readiness or economy in a crisis? The list of affected products has expanded beyond traditional metals. Section 232 tariffs are often broad in scope, applying to all countries, or all but a few with quotas or exemptions. Politically sensitive, with trade partners responding in kind, and unpredictable, especially during periods of geopolitical tension. To manage exposure, companies need to track affected HTS codes, monitor negotiations and quota arrangements, consider reshoring or alternative sourcing, and evaluate the eligibility of their products under exemptions. A few options exist for companies impacted by Section 232 tariffs. U.S. importers can request product-specific exclusions via the Department of Commerce. Just like with Section 301, how and where a product is made can make all the difference. FTZs may provide opportunities to defer duties, especially if the goods are re-exported. Understanding which tariffs apply to your imports and staying updated when they change is critical. Our import control software simplifies this process by helping you identify and monitor products impacted by tariffs like Section 232. There's a link below to try it for free. You'll also find a number of other links to articles, white papers, and more that can help you manage tariff volatility. For example, our Incoterms resources can help you choose a better trade term for managing changing import controls. Our product classification software is always up to date with the changing regulations. And our blog includes dozens of helpful articles about tariffs, including a recent article from Dave Noah about strategies exporters and importers should use to manage tariff chaos. Even if your products aren't currently impacted, understanding Section 232 gives you a clearer picture of how trade policy intersects with broader economic and geopolitical priorities. Next time on A Deeper Look, we'll explore IEEPA, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, and how it fuels sanctions and trade controls. And if you missed our first episode explaining Section 301, there's a link below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here next week.